Alright, so I noticed it's going to take me a little more time to get this racism video done because, well, this is a loaded topic and I can't talk about one thing without bringing up something else. So this is probably going to be a little bit of a personal deep dive on racism, of course featuring a few other people, especially like Thuman, because I really want to talk about her situation. But aside from that, I wanted to talk about a few things that have been on my mind, so here we go with the next Puff episode. First to get rolled up, we have Bhad Bhabie versus Dr. Phil. Now, I personally haven't really been the biggest Bhad Bhabie fan or Danielle Bregoli fan because, you know, she doesn't seem like the type that I would be okay with. Very headstrong. What's the right word? Not disciplined, I guess, to put it nicely. She's one of those types of girls from like high school that I'd stay very far away from because she seems like the type that would instantly try to beat your ass if you look at her the wrong way. So yeah, just I wasn't really with that. But you know, knowing her home life and the stuff that she went through, obviously of course she's a troubled teen. I have a big issue with, you know, parents sending their kids away to help them, quote unquote. Like, I don't know if you guys have tried family therapy or just trying to get to know your child. Like, I don't know, it's just me. I'm not a parent, so you know, I wouldn't know, quote unquote. I hate that shit, but you know, I'm not a parent, so I can't really fully say what is or isn't okay, what you should do with your child. But I personally don't feel that it's fine to send them away to some place that you have no idea what it's going to be like for them just so they can get help. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't sit well with my spirit. Also, Dr. Phil, of course, we all know, is to blame for this. This man has sent so many kids over to these youth ranches to try to help them, but I'm pretty sure he knows behind the scenes that these places really aren't that good for these kids, and the fact that he still sends them to these places bothers me. Isn't the fact that this man also is well, I'll put it loosely, licensed psychologist, because he studied psychology. How the fuck do you study psychology but don't know how to help people? I have a gripe with Dr. Phil. I have a gripe with a lot of TV doctors. Honestly, they are kind of full of shit. But Dr. Phil especially, I don't feel like it's personally okay to have therapy sessions on TV where people basically make an ass out of themselves when they're having issues. I don't like, they're in a very vulnerable spot, and it's also like a catch-22. Yeah, it's like public humiliation on one hand, but then like I just don't get how it's supposed to help. I find it really dumb. You know what I'm saying? And when I said loosely putting his license in air quotes, because it's been rumored that he's not even a licensed psychologist. And of course he can like work around this because he's not making money off of the sessions themselves, but of course he makes money off of like the viewer count of his show. But I'm sorry, it doesn't sit well with me that I'm going to see a unlicensed psychologist to help me with my issues. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Anyway, next on the rolling tray, we have Dobrik. Now, a lot has come out about him recently, and it's been a little difficult to keep up with it, but the essential is this. He had a shitty first apology, a tolerable second apology. Although, I mean, obviously the apology isn't for me, but even if it was, I probably still wouldn't accept it. Here's why. A lot of people have mentioned that he made a better apology after he lost all of his sponsors. I feel like, because of course he still didn't understand the first time, that's why the first apology was bad. But if you didn't understand why you were apologizing, don't fucking say anything. Like, he just, and of course it was like 2.5 minutes. Like, no, don't just shut up, sit with it for a second, sleep on it, understand it, and then come out with an apology. Because okay, he could have probably prevented his sponsors from dropping him had he correctly addressed the situation the first time, but because he didn't do that, then all of his sponsors dropped. Then he wants to make a better apology because his money is being messed with. Like, I get it, the damned if you do, damned if you don't argument, because people are just like, you should make an apology. He makes an apology. It's a shitty apology. Do it again. He does it again and it's slightly better. No, it's still bad. Like, I get that. And I feel like I'm on that boat. But like, it's really hard to explain when it's slightly frustrating when he has made this whole atmosphere of just disrespecting people. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I kind of still don't give a shit about him when he hasn't cared about anybody else. You see what I'm saying? And the vlogs, I've never cared about the Vlog Squad. I've never watched any of their stuff. I thought David Dobrik was an overrated, fuckboy, essentially. That's the vibes that he gave me. And he has been called out previously during the time that Jake Paul and Logan Paul were doing their little weird things. Some other people who just don't fall for the bullshit, some didn't sit well with my spirit. Okay, so on the outside looking in, I guess it was just a long time coming for this, because I would know. I don't really watch any of his stuff, but I guess he tried to do the really good rebranding of not doing more pranks and just trying to give stuff away to people. I don't know, but like Shane Dawson, who I may or may not address later, if you are going to try to rebrand yourself because of some weird stuff you did in the past, can you address that correctly? And how you do that is the stuff that you don't feel comfortable with talking about, you're probably gonna have to talk about it and say, look, I did these things back in the day. I don't agree with this anymore. And to anybody that I have hurt doing these things back in this time, I'm very sorry. I'll literally do whatever it takes to make it up to you and actually follow through with it. Then you can go ahead and do your rebranding, because you've acknowledged what you've done and you are willing to atone for it. Why is that so hard for people to understand? Well, hello to you too. Let me talk about Jason Nash for a second, because he's also part of the vlog. So why is this grown ass man with a bunch of college aged people? He's not chaperoning. He's not trying to be the voice of reason, the father figure. He's a grown ass frat boy. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable with this grown ass man hanging around people that are, my age really, and trying to make pranks and joke and act like he's one of the boys. You're too old for that. Mature. Act your age. You're 50. I need you to be some, not necessarily but an old wise dude, at least somewhat wise. You've had enough life experience to tell people maybe you shouldn't do this, do that instead of trying to be one of the guys when you've passed your prime already. This ain't it, chief. And of course him trying to do those comedy shows and going on tour as if nothing is happening to the Vlog Squad. You are delusional, my dude. Trisha Paytas is still guilty. Let's not forget that she was there when she wasn't there when it happened, but she was there that day, and she left. And instead of helping the girls out, because she knew they were under the age to buy alcohol, they weren't underage, under 18, but they couldn't go and buy alcohol for themselves. So if she knew that, why didn't she also do anything? I'm sorry, honey, you're on the hook too. Just because you can sit here and boldly claim and say that, David Dobrik is shit, honey, so are you, because you were there and you didn't do anything. I'm sorry, you're kind of just as guilty as the one who actually did it, because you're an accomplice. I hate the term guilty by association, but that's kind of what this is. She was there. Not there when it happened, but she could have done something to prevent it. I don't forgive you either. And it feels a little bittersweet, because at one point I was kind of on Trisha's side, because she was going through stuff with Jeffree Star, and she was actually starting to make sense within the past year or so, aside from her recent endeavors beforehand where she was just talking a bunch of nonsense. So I was like, okay, I can give her a chance. She's actually being a bit mature now. I can get behind that. But I still can't forget that she was there and did nothing. No, enough about her, and let me briefly mention Liza Koshy for a second. My friend might be mad at me because she was a huge Liza Koshy fan, but I'm not, so. So Miss Liza Koshy was trying to shade David by saying that she was never satisfied with him in the bedroom. And I must say, that's nobody's business. That's nobody's business. I'm sorry, I get it, his career is kind of going down the toilet right now. But I don't think that was necessary. Why? 'Cause you're not the only one that deals with stuff like that, because women are usually hard to please anyway. You're not saying anything special, sweetie. Maybe that's just me, and I can see it for what it is women are harder to please. But, you know, maybe that's just me. But I feel like it was unnecessary. You could have kept your mouth shut about that. I don't give two shits about your love life. Like, that's not any of my business. Why are we so comfortable with airing out stuff that really shouldn't be? Like, can we stop doing that? Can we stop doing that, like, as a society? Some stuff needs to be left unsaid. I don't want to know stuff like that. But moving on from that, there's a topic that I wanted to touch on briefly because I used to like this creator. Miss Lindsay Ellis has gotten canceled on Twitter for a couple tweets that she made about Raya and the Last Dragon. Now, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm really not too interested in those. Because she made a tweet, and this is what really is absolutely hilarious to me. So she said that she had watched Soul. And I'm gonna just read the tweet. So she says, finally got around to watching Soul, and woof, that ending. Yeah, I get it. I get that it's an allegory, but the central conceit does require romanticizing the souls of the unborn in a way that just doesn't make sense to me. Finally, a Pixar film for the pro-life crowd. Tweeting this now because this is the only thing I will ever say about this movie. Yike, 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 field of yikes. But then she says this tweet afterwards. Joe gave up his life for a miscarriage. I don't understand how you think these young souls are miscarriage. Okay, I know I'm not an Olympic gymnast, but honey deserves a couple medals for that logic. I cannot. That is the funniest shit that I've ever seen. That's the funny shit that I've ever read. Joe gave up his life for a miscarriage. No, that's not what it was. You are literally putting politics into it, something that had nothing to do with politics. God, that's such a bad take. That's so bad. I'm sorry. That's really the only thing that I cared about. I'll probably end up doing a deep dive on her later to see like what she's really been doing behind the scenes that we have probably missed. But I just wanted to touch on this because that was funny. I needed to laugh at that. A miscarriage. Okay. Now, I just want to bring this up once because I probably don't ever want to talk about him again. Shane Dawson. As we've all known, this man has been off the internet for a year because of his cancellation, at least temporary for what I'll say, considering he's trying to get back on YouTube. But I don't like him. Shane Dawson is not a good person. He will never be a good person. I'm sorry. And I'm saying that because he hangs around people like Jeffree Star. And he'd rather keep a friendship that he's had for 2 years over someone that he's had a relationship with for over a decade. That makes sense. I just want to make a quick editor's note here in saying that Shane Dawson essentially just picked the greater of two evils in the situation, because Jeffree Star is a lot worse than Trisha Paytas. Yes, they both have done bad things, but have you seen those recent Jeffree Star allegations? We're not going to get into that, but just go do your research. Sorry. He basically used and abused the beauty community. I don't even want to get into the stuff that he got exposed for in the past. There are plenty of videos on that. It's gross. That's all I gotta say. Me personally, as someone who has somewhat of a sensitive spirit, I don't appreciate him constantly using the I'm an empath term to like try to make people feel like, oh, he's such a sweet and caring person. Like, no. If he was actually an empath, a lot of the stuff that he did wouldn't have been done. Point blank, period. I'm gonna just put it like this and end it here. Some relics of the old days should just fade away into memories. Next on the rolling tray, I want to briefly talk about Lil Nas X and his newest video. I usually don't talk about music on this channel, but this is something that interested me. That new video gave me a roller coaster of emotions, okay? It really did. Mostly good, some cringe, but you know, I'm very jealous of his pole dancing skills, like honey, teach me. I love the animation and the song itself, nice beat, beautiful visuals. I've seen some bad takes on his video talking mostly about religion and all of that mess, which, look, I have nothing, actually that's a lie. I have quite a few things against religion, but we're not gonna state that here. Just, can we stop making, okay, as soon as we see Satan, there's an issue, but like stuff in the religion or in the church or in the home of these religious families, when stuff goes down in there, we don't wanna address that. Okay, whatever. Just pick and choose our battles, I guess. Moving on from that, the Amazon series trailer for Them, which is absolutely amazing because I'll be coming out my video about racism soon. This series scares me and has me intrigued at the same time. I'll probably explain why I'm scared later when, I guess, talking about it. But just watch it if you haven't seen it, and you'll probably understand why I'm terrified. And now the final note that we have is I want to have an update on the Hotbox. He recently came out with a video apologizing and owning up to his past mistakes on some bad takes that he's had in the past and some of his commentaries. And I want to say, honey, I'm so proud of you. I really appreciate you. And you know, I hope you grow and prosper one day on the site. Like, that's really admirable of you to do that. And that's like something I've been harping on for so long when talking about people in the commentary community. So it's just really nice to hear. It's a breath of fresh air and I love it. I'm here for it. I stan. Also, can I hotbox with the hotbox one day? It's just a question. But anyway, that's it for the puff for right now. If you guys like this, like, share, comment what you thought. Let's talk about whatever I talked about today, or you can suggest something else that I can talk about later. You know, have a conversation. Subscribe if you like this content, and you can be, you know, in the lookout for my next video where I talk about something heavy and colorful at the same time. And I will catch you guys later. Bye.